When Vegeta dies in sacrifice, it is a turning point, not just for his character, but for everyone else as well. Before he dies, he asks Piccolo, "Is there going to be anything for me when I die, or will I have the same fate as Frieza being sent straight to hell?" Piccolo tells him that although you're not anywhere near as bad as what Frieza was, you have caused far too much pain in your life to even be considered having the same benefits that Goku got to have, being able to keep your body in the afterlife and get stronger. Vegeta just did not have that luxury at that point in time, but he still did it. He sacrificed his life, and for a while, that was the end of Vegeta. So where did Vegeta go during this time? He didn't get to keep his body, but his soul still lived. In the Fusion Reborn movie against Janemba, Vegeta briefly opens up about his experience in the afterlife as a bad guy, compared to Goku.
Don't worry, I have one thing in my favor. I have nothing to lose.
What do you mean? Don't say that!
You've been good, Kakarot. I haven't. The afterlife, quite frankly, sucks for me. Fighting him will be a piece of cake. Anything's better than my existence here.
He would rather fight Janemba as a Super Saiyan 2 than live in this afterlife, so it must have been really bad. Vegeta's time in this afterlife, by his own words, sucked. It was his own version of hell. For Frieza, his version of hell was a bunch of stuffed animals with singing happy songs and dancing around, which makes sense. Frieza would hate that, but for Vegeta, what does he hate? Well, in this fan adaptation, you see Vegeta looking above at Snake Way. He is not able to be on the path of the gods, but he is in hell. This is Vegeta's spirit. Everything that he is seeing now is his version of hell. This story, I think, is pretty interesting if you intertwine it with the current depiction of the afterlife that we saw in Resurrection F and what Frieza was in. Vegeta's is very different. He runs into the other Saiyans, Raditz, and I think it's that guy from Bardock's squad. As soon as the other Saiyans see Vegeta, Vegeta is looking at them both like he is top dog, because now obviously he can become a Super Saiyan and they're still all very low level Saiyans. So Vegeta says to Raditz, "How have you been, Raditz? You seem as weak as ever." All the other Saiyans in the history of the Saiyan race swarm Vegeta and they say, "How is Vegeta here? He finally joined us here in hell. He finally died." And in a way, they're all giving him this attention. Doesn't really seem too bad at the moment. In my mind, the afterlife of Vegeta, or at least the way he was describing it, would have been constantly having the vision of his race destroyed and Frieza always having to rule over him. That's what I would think hell would be for Vegeta, but the story continues, and all the Saiyans are shocked to see Vegeta in hell. Because he was one of the last surviving Saiyans, and because he survived so long, no one expected to see Vegeta this soon. The king, Vegeta's dad, comes up to him and says, "My son, can you show me your Super Saiyan form? I must see it." And you can really tell that Vegeta thinks so much higher of himself than any of these Saiyans around him. He says, "You don't have to tell me twice," and he powers up into a Super Saiyan form, but not before calling them all trash, and to prepare to be amazed. He really thinks that all of these Saiyans here in the afterlife are lower class Saiyans, so he powers up into Super Saiyan 2, and as you can imagine, all the other Saiyans are shocked. However, they all notice something very different about Vegeta. All of the other Saiyans there died with their tails. They died back in that era. They all notice that his tail is completely gone, and they start belittling him for it. They say that a tail is the true mark of a Saiyan, and now that Vegeta doesn't have it, it's like he's not one of them anymore, especially when they just see his hair turn yellow and he doesn't even have any Saiyan armor on. They all start bullying Vegeta over his lack of tail, and Vegeta claps back by saying, "Do you not sense how much my power has grown? I'm a Super Saiyan 2 in these boots. I think it's worth not having a tail." And in response to that, Bardock says, "Of course we can't sense how much your power has grown. We don't have scouters." Remember that the early Saiyans could only detect power through the scouters. They weren't advanced enough to just sense out power. So it leaves Vegeta feeling really left out amongst his own race, especially when the full moon comes out and they all turn into their Ozaru form and have this giant Ozaru party, and Vegeta's just left there amongst his own race, feeling like a complete outcast. And that is the story of Vegeta's time in the afterlife. Let me know what you think. I want to thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next Dragon Ball video.